Greetings, I'm Professor Hobo, and welcome to another HOBOTECH News product review. SunGoldPower is known for their high-quality, low-frequency inverters. They decided to send me this 4,000-watt 12-volt inverter, which is to be really popular for you RVers and van lifers out there. They also decided to send me this 12-volt lithium iron phosphate battery, which is heated and has low temperature protection and a built-in monitor. I was sitting there thinking about how can I do this all in one video. I really can't, so I'm gonna split this up into two separate videos. We'll do one video on the inverter, one video on the battery. Today, we're gonna do the video on the battery. HOBOTECH. The battery is the typical 100 amp hour, 12 volt, 1280 watt hour lithium iron phosphate battery with at least 4,000 cycles to 80% capacity. What's unique about it is it does actually have a monitor on the top so you can see the voltage, state of charge, and voltage of each of the 4 cells inside the battery. It's also heated and has low temperature protection in case the heater can't keep up. Now this battery has an advanced 100 amp BMS inside, which allows it to charge and discharge at 100 amps, which is 1280 watts. They do use grade A lithium iron phosphate batteries inside, and this battery can support up to 4 in series and 4 in parallel for up to 16 batteries total. Now the self-heating function kicks in right at under 1 degree centigrade or just above freezing, around 33 degrees. And it kicks in when you go to charge the battery. So if you try to charge the battery when it's too cold, the little heating pad kicks on, warms up the cells, and attempts to keep it above freezing. Now, besides all the other cool features I mentioned, this also has Bluetooth inside. So you can Bluetooth to their app on your phone and see all kinds of interesting stuff. We'll cover that also here in a bit. SunGoldPower does offer a 5-year warranty on their batteries. So of course I took it into my secret laboratory where I performed all kinds of crazy experiments on it, including a single-fisted battery capacity test. Now the results were no surprise. I was able to score just over 103 amp hours out of this battery, so you're getting what you pay for. Now here's some things about this battery that make it unique. First of all, it has a screen up on top, so you can press the button on the screen and cycle through percentage state of charge, battery voltage, and then the voltage for all 4 cells. To get this to work, you hold it down, shows you the voltage of the battery, the percentage state of charge, cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, and cell 4 voltage. And then back again to main voltage of the battery. So without even having a battery monitoring system or anything like that, you can see the state of charge of the battery and the voltage of the battery along with the voltages of all 4 cells inside. That's pretty cool. It's a little black and white monitor. It's a cheap thing, but it's there. This battery is IP65 waterproof, so it does mean that you can splash water on this from any direction and not have to worry about the internals. So this screen is actually watertight. Now, besides being self-heating, which is amazing in of itself, they also have a Bluetooth app. No kidding, there's a Bluetooth transceiver inside. You can download their app and you can get all kinds of information about this battery that you never will need. But for the nerds out there that love numbers, this is one of the best apps I've seen for a battery. So main screen, of course, you get state of charge, the voltage, the current coming in or out, the charge status, and if it's got any protections, meaning if you shorted it out or anything like that, it'll show up. Now on the cell data screen, you can see the actual millivolts of each cell. You can also see the 2 temperature sensors that they have. They have one on the main battery and one on PCB, which would be the main board. So you can see they're showing 2 different temperatures, which means they have 2 different sensors. I'm assuming temp 2 just isn't used. Under the warning screen, you can see you have voltage warnings. You'll say pack overvolt, cell overvolt. Those are all green because of course we're not overvolting or overcharging or discharging. And then you have your temperature warnings, which of course we're all in the green right now because we don't have any anomalies. Now you can see I'm actually running current through the battery. It tells you the limits. So it says right there, protect charge OC 105. That's 105 amps. And then the delay is 15. That's probably 15 seconds. And the other delay is 3 seconds. So you can see the settings are right here, what the limitations are of the battery. Same thing with the voltages. You guys can pause this if you want to check it out. And same thing for the temperature if you want to pause this and check this out. Probably the most interesting screen of all is the more info screen, where it'll give you the version and serial number and everything of your battery, but it also tells you if the heater is on or off and what mode the battery is in, along with, again, more BMS information about the cells. Again, different temperature sensors for the different parts of the battery. Tell you what the average temperature and max temperature is. Now, very interestingly, it says cycle count 0. Now, I have not used this battery yet. I have just charged it. I've never discharged it. But I'm actually quite curious to see if I fully discharge and charge this battery, will that cycle count go up? So I just accidentally plugged too much into the inverter with this battery. Now, you remember this battery can only do 100 amp charge and discharge. Well, interestingly, on the app, it actually shows an error. Check it out. It actually real time tells you that the BMS, because I ran too much power out of the battery, it errored out. Charge status now does say protect, meaning that it is now protecting it. So very interesting. The app does work in real time. A lot of times these apps will have a 60-second delay or something built in, but that's real time. I mean, as soon as it clicked off, it showed it on the app. So it should actually reset itself here in a few seconds. I'm going to unplug the overload because I put like 3,000 watts. And there it goes. It clicked off. It should now be running. Let's go ahead and switch this to amps, and we will make sure that we can at least discharge it at 100 amps. There we have 110 amps. And I got the clock running. Let's see how long it'll go before it shuts down at 110 amps. Of course, the second I shut the camera off, thinking it was going to go several minutes, it shut off in only like 25 seconds, so we're going to have to reset it again. The nice thing about this is that it does reset fairly quickly. It only takes a couple of minutes, and then it will reset itself. There we go again, resets itself, and we'll see if we can make it at least 5 minutes at 100 amps. That's as close as I can get to 100 amps. All right, no big surprise. We're able to pull 100 amps for over 5 minutes, no problem. Just remember, you don't have much overhead on this. You hit 110, it's going to shut you down. Now, this test is going to test the charge rate of the battery. It has a 100 amp BMS. It should allow us to do at least 100 amps. If it goes above that, we'll see how much above that it can go. We're at the max charge rate of the, and that didn't take long at all, seconds, and it shut it down. And this time it says charge over protection is lit up. Because I tried to charge it over 100 amps, it shut down the charging completely just in a matter of seconds. So I'm gonna have to dial this thing back down when it resets. Let's see, we'll do 106. Try 100, oh yeah, no, at 106 it shut down again in seconds. It didn't even give me time to reset the clock. So we're gonna have to keep it to pretty much 100 amps. It's just not gonna allow me to do anything else. The SunGoldPower has a little knob up here that you can turn to adjust the charger, how much charging you want. Let this run. Let's see how long it'll go at 104, 105. Oh, yeah, again, only a few seconds. Very sensitive to charging. We're around 100, 101-ish. We'll see it bounces around a little bit. We'll see if we can make it to 5 minutes on this. And no big surprise, since we kept under 105 amps, it is now 5 minutes, and we've been charging at 100 amps with no problems. All right, we have one final very important test for this battery, and that is the self-heating function. We're charged up to 93%. So what I'm gonna do now is put this thing in my deep freezer. What I'm gonna do about every hour or so is check the more info screen where it says heater off or on. I'm gonna check and see when it says on. And see if it actually keeps the inside of the battery where the cells are above freezing, even though the battery's in a deep freezer. So that's going to be quite a challenge for this battery to overpower my deep freezer, but we're going to give it a try because it says it's got a heater, so we have to give it a shot. So again, the setting I'm talking about says heater off or on right there. Okay, here you go, right on top of the corn, and we will come back and check on this in a few hours. Okay, according to the temps, I just had this at -1 PCB and 0 on temp 01. And what I did was I turned my charger on, and it did attempt to start charging the battery, which you could see it is charging at 10 amps. So one thing I noticed right away, it says heater on. So it actually turned the heater on, and in a matter of, I don't know, about 2 or 3 minutes, it's actually raised the temperature to 2 degrees centigrade on the battery from 0. So the heater is working, and it is allowing me to charge. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and put the battery back in the deep freezer and see if I can take it down to like maybe -5°C, and then see if the heater's still on and if it still allows me to charge. Because right now it's allowing me to charge even though the batteries are freezing, but that's because it turned the heater on and warmed it up a little. So it looks like the heater is working. It's working pretty quickly, actually. So we'll just take the next step and put it back in the freezer. Okay, we're back. I've had this in my deep freezer overnight because I wanted to get it well below freezing to make sure that the heater works. Now it does say the PCB, right there if you can read that, is -11, and temp 01 is -11. That's Celsius. So we're well below freezing. And it does actually say charge UT, which I believe means it is protecting me from charging the battery because it's too cold. So right there it says charge status protect status yes. So I do have the charger plugged in. It is doing 0 amps, and that is because the battery's too cold. So I just took it out of the freezer. I'm going to leave the charger hooked up, and we're going to see how long it takes for it to start charging again. Now, I've already noticed that when I took it out, it said -12°C, and just in the last 5 minutes, it's now down to -10°C. So the heater is on. It is working pretty quickly to warm the battery back up so we can charge it. So we're just going to keep an eye on it and see how long it takes. Okay, so it's been about 90 minutes. The battery has warmed up enough with the heater to start the charge again. And it seems it happened as soon as the PCB temperature hit 10°C, so 10 centigrade, the battery started charging again. It looks like the cells are still at 3 degrees centigrade, which is above freezing, but it is now allowing charging. So that was significantly faster than a typical battery. Most of the time I have to wait 3 or 4 hours minimum. This only took about 90 minutes from the deep freezer to warm back up to the point of charging again. So low temperature charging protection absolutely works. And it does seem to have a heating pad inside. It heats up the battery faster than it would at room temperature. Now, as for pricing, the 100 amp hour battery with all these features is a little more expensive than the competition, which doesn't have all these features. Nowadays, you can buy a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery just about anywhere for $299. Now they're asking $549 for this, but this does have the battery monitor built in with the Bluetooth going to the app. It has a heating. It also has the low temperature protection. So it's got all this extra bang for the buck built in for that extra money. And I know if you're only using 1 or 2 of these batteries, having that monitor up there is going to be pretty enticing because you don't have to spend money on a battery monitor separately. Now, while of course the retail price is $549, you guys are not going to pay that because looking at their website, they already got a 15% off on top of that. Now, that's for a limited time. They're also offering me a limited time promo code. I don't know how much off that's going to be. I'm still getting that as of the filming of this, but that code will be in the description of this video below. Make sure you use that when you check out so you actually get a much better price than that $549. Now, most of the major brands now do offer a self-heating battery, or at least batteries with cold temperature protection. They always cost more. There's no way to get around it. It takes a lot more technology to have a heating pad kick on at certain times and extra temperature sensors. And this has a much more advanced BMS than your typical $299 battery. And we proved that in our testing because I tried to push in more than 100 amps of charging, won't let you. I tried to pull out more than 100 amps of discharging, wouldn't let you. So it's extremely safe, very good BMS inside. You get what you pay for. It's really what it comes down to with these batteries nowadays. So I just like the fact that this is a pretty good price point. You're talking under $500 for a battery that has a monitor, the self-heating, low temperature protection, and a very good advanced BMS. So that's all the stuff I like about it. There's really nothing to dislike about it except, yeah, of course, it could be cheaper. And also the fact you can put these in series and parallel. A lot of times these fancy batteries, you can only put them in 12 or 24 volt configurations. This will do 48 volts. So you can buy 4 of them, put them in 48 volts, power your 48 volt inverter or whatever you want to do. SunGoldPower does make 48 volt inverters, just letting you know. My other review is going to be to test this inverter. And this is a 12 volt 4000 watts. It's the biggest 12 volt they make. It's got a massive 120 amp charger built in. They sent me both at the same time. I decided I'd split this video up and just concentrate on one product at a time. But if you're looking for an inverter charger for this battery, SunGoldPower's website, they got tons of different kinds. They got 12, 24, 48 volt, everything from 1,000 watts up to 4,000 watts. So they have all kinds of different models. They support lead acid and LFP batteries. So if you're interested in this inverter or an inverter similar to it, just watch my other review. I'm going to cover this in detail. So if you're interested in the SGP 100 amp hour self-heated battery, the link is going to be below in the description of this video, along with that discount code. Make sure you put that in at checkout. I'm also going to put a link here at the bottom of the screen that you can type in manually, along with a QR code that you can scan on a mobile device. It'll take you on over to the SunGoldPower SGP store page, where you can check out the 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery and their selection of inverter chargers. Thanks for watching. If you learned something today, don't forget to give me that thumbs up below. And if you're not a subscriber already, you know what to do. That's it for now. Till next time.
Odin commands you to like and subscribe. And clean my litter box. RV Golf Guy. Brian Blue, Bruce Johnson, Jason Soroka, August 2000.